Hello, everybody. Hope everyone is healthy and doing well. Today, I want to talk to you about the opportunities that lie beyond the mobile platforms and how to find new audiences by going cross-platform. We have only about 20 minutes, so it's going to be a brief talk, but hopefully opens up the topic for everybody. So at Exola, we see the mobile market as a huge opportunity to offer more freedom to developers and publishers to sell their experiences directly to the players while being able to grow their games beyond the restrictions of the mobile app stores. So I'm today going to take you on a ride to the likely future that is definitely going to be more cross-platform than now. Okay, so who the heck am I? So my name is Miikka. I'm originally from Finland, currently based in Berlin, Germany. I have worked in the mobile game industry for over 16 years now with a variety of companies and roles. Anything from producer, business development, product management at companies such as Rovio, Vuga, Tilting Point, and Superscale. I'm currently working at Exola as the Director of Business Development for Europe. So, what is Exola anyways? So, Exola started over 15 years ago, and we've been handling transactions for games ever since. Our offices are located in Los Angeles, from Russia, Korea, and here in Berlin. In essence, Exola, we are a video game business and transactions engine. We enable game publishers and developers of all sizes to market, sell, optimize their games, no matter what the platform is. So I want to start my presentation today by talking about the current top-grossing mobile games of last year, 2020 first. So I've taken a look at the top-grossing mobile games of last year, and I found a few interesting tidbits, especially when looking at the games that have a desktop or web version available as well, besides a mobile version. So we have the obvious suspects like PUBG, Fortnite, Genshin Impact, Roblox, but a few entries surprised me, such as the new launch of Raid Shadow Legends on PC in January. If you haven't checked it out, it's a really good game and a good version and an interesting case for this talk as well. So we talked about 2020. So now let's talk about the challenges facing mobile publishers this year. And it's a big one. So number one challenge is the discoverability. Still the key issue in mobile publishing today. And it's been for a long time. It still remains that. How to make your game seen in case you don't get featuring or virality amidst the sea of hundreds or even thousands of games released every weekly. It's a tough job. One way to approach this challenge is to take your game to a new platform and increase your visibility. And I will be talking about the benefits of doing that shortly. Number two challenge. So the player data and tracking are becoming more limiting for you. As we see the IDFA deprecation came into effect, many are left asking whether they can reliably predict their ROI, return of investment, for their marketing campaigns. And the answer is not as well as before, no matter what kind of programmatic algorithms you have at play trying to predict that. Diversifying your spend across more platforms is definitely a more sure way to know exactly how well you're spending, especially with the platforms that allow you to fully own your own tracking and player data, like web or PC. Number 3 and 4 challenges. Scaling through the app stores has always been a challenge with the 30% so-called platform tax. PC and web allow you to, sell directly by getting rid of this big platform tax. And with that, your game will be profitable on UA, for example, straight off the bat. All right, so let's talk about the telltale signs that what we've seen with some of our partners when they're coming to us on the mobile space and wanting to do these things, what I mentioned, and break through the barriers of mobile platforms. They have reached a natural plateau usually in game growth, and they're looking at finding new audiences. So that's the number one. Number two, many of them are seeing a lot of their whales, people that are spending a lot in their game in terms of in-app purchases, they're using BlueStacks. And BlueStacks is an emulator for Android that allows your players to play your game on desktop, right? So it's emulating the Android. What we've seen is some of our partners have noticed in their metrics that many of their whales are playing using BlueStacks. And this is a sure sign that you may have an audience on desktop for your game. Number 3, IDFA, as said before, will make it harder to exactly know in terms of tracking your marketing campaign performance, which means that the more you spend, the less accurate it will likely be. So it's even a bigger problem at higher spend levels. Number 4, the issue with games that are heavy on controls, very tactile with touchscreen, they don't convert that well to desktop, of course. I've seen this with, you take, for example, Angry Birds of Rovio, where you actually use your fingers a lot. So that's dilutes the experience if you have a very tactile touchscreen controls. So it might not be as fun simply on desktop. So that's something to consider. All right, so let's get to brass tacks. So I want to talk to you about one of our success stories with Nexters on Hero Wars. So launched by Nexters in 2016, Hero Wars became a smash hit on social media platforms, Facebook and VK, and the game continued to find success when it came to mobile in 2019. However, with the sales and player acquisition beginning to plateau for them, the developer wanted new ways to increase their margins and profits and connect with more new audiences. So by collaborating with us at Exola and using our mobile game commerce solution, Nexters were able to grow beyond the app stores and social media channels to expand across new platforms while scaling into new territories as well. So the solution for this challenge was to really take their mobile game and port it to the web and build a dedicated site where players can play the Hero Wars directly on their browsers. And we integrated Exola payments in their in-app purchases, in-app store. We enabled support for the transactions when people are buying things. We enabled player inventory management for them. And the results were pretty great. So Nexters found an improvement in the conversion rate, and they reached completely new market with local payment methods and are able to grow and scale their game further than ever before because of that. And by working with us, they were able to prioritize new platforms and territories where they were able to connect and enhance their revenue streams, essentially. So in terms of the numbers, in 1 month, for example, their users made transactions via over 245 different payment methods using us and increased their revenue by more than 20x year over year, 20x. So that's definitely a story to tell your parents and your friends. So that's encouraging, we think. Okay, so that's web, but there's more, obviously. As I mentioned before, for example, some games like Raid Shadow Legends may convert really well to PC even. So let's talk about that a bit. Some opportunities and challenges with each of these approaches on different platforms. So first of all, going back to the web. So due to the improved browser support, WebGL is actually pretty much ready for prime time finally because of the browser support. And people are able to play WebGL games on their browsers now. It's a great option for games that are visually demanding, especially good if you build your game using Unreal or Unity engine. Many of these engines allow an easier porting to WebGL, so you don't have to really port it from ground up. So that's pretty handy and interesting, since it kind of shortens the porting period as well, and the maintenance that goes with live operations. So for web games, to consider, the cost per acquisition, aka CPI, is usually much lower than on mobile because you don't have to install any game. You just go directly to the game. So essentially, you're able to get more players in your game cheaper. So you can reach a wider audience. And the web also allows you to use a larger screen for real estate. So you can build social chat community features side-loaded while you play the game. So it's a nice way to enhance the experience. And let's talk about HTML5 and web as well. That's another good way to take your mobile game to web. But it's, to be honest, suitable for more simple and lighter games. But at the same time, it enjoys even a better browser support than WebGL. And PC, of course, is the best for immersive experience. But with the immersive experiences on PC, player expectations increase dramatically. So keep that in mind. If you launch a PC version of your mobile game using a launcher, a standalone launcher, is always a good idea because that allows you to own the player data and tracking better. And we've seen that with some of our partners using our launcher solution. All right, so what to expect going from mobile to web? And the expectations, as that's really the key factor in helping you decide whether you should invest resources in porting your game to other platforms. What I've seen done before is some of our partners doing a simple test campaign with a vertical slice demo of the game before investing fully into the project. I recommend that approach, as you will be able to measure, at least your cost per acquisition and your day zero engagement. Like how do people, how excited they are to play your game on desktop. And you can expect to have a positive bleed effect also, where people who go to play the web version of your game, they will, if they like it, they will likely download the mobile version as well, because people like to play on multiple screens. So you will likely see a positive organic uplift on your mobile version as well. And a good tip that I would say is try targeting your lapsed spenders, people who spend a lot, but for some reason stop playing. A new version on a new platform is a great way to kind of entice them to get back and start playing your game again. So you can try to target those people on Facebook or Google UAC, and that might be giving you interesting results. And again, just to remind, cost per acquisition will be lower on the web versus mobile, simply because there's no install. So that's definitely encouraging for any kind of test and long run for many games as well. And financially, for a web version of your game, you can realistically expect to earn about extra 20 cents for each dollar earned from your mobile version. So on top of your mobile version dollar, you can expect 20 cents extra. And that's like kind of like a realistic expectation for what we've seen, for example, on a mid-core free-to-play game. So keep that in mind. One thing to note is that when adding new versions to your game, this will of course add LiveOps overhead to your team. So you need to think about that from the beginning. You need to have some potential partners or scale up your team or have people that you can help your team to expand on that capability. And finally, I just want to mention top-ups and subscriptions is another interesting way to introduce monetization outside the app stores. That allows your players to basically subscribe to your in-app value across all of your games, not just necessarily one game, through a simple like VIP type of subscription page, and even allowing them to top up their virtual currency, for example, for a single game or multiple games. And we're seeing unprecedented demand for this recently through the mobile game industry. And that's obviously to do with many factors. There's a lot of talk about the platform tax. There's a lot of talk about platforms, and monetizing outside of platforms. There's also talk about, the IDFA deprecation, and many things coming together, I think is making it a pretty interesting topic these days. All right, so I just want to talk quickly about our success case with NetEase. So we helped NetEase's Marvel game. The challenge there was to create an alternative localized payment for their title in effort to generate more revenue. And the solution that we approached them with was, again, we used the mobile game commerce solution by creating a top-up page in Korea so that they can sell virtual items online through that. And that's seen some good success. All right, so last but not least, remember, when there's no platform tax, for example, on the web or PC, that gives you a lot of liberty and wiggle room to scale your business, scale your game as a service. For example, our commission is 5% compared to most of the app stores, which is usually 30%. And by saying that, if you're interested in anything what I've just discussed, I'm more than happy to discuss more and share you more details and case studies that we've seen around the industry on these topics. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you today. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something, and feel free to hit me up for more questions. Happy to answer. Thank you very much.